Behind the Brand features the people who are making things happen. Get the insight to grow your biz from experts who've done it. Get behind the brand. Sponsored by Raven Internet Marketing Tools.
Welcome to Behind the Brand. I'm Brian Elliott. Today I'm here with President of Networks Online, John Rydell, who also has just developed a brand new service called Meeting Burner. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Brian. Glad to be here.
So I typically ask my guests when they first arrive, how did you get this job?
We may have to go a long way back, but we'll get to the end soon.
Okay.
I'm one of the few people in the entire world that could have told you in the third grade what I wanted to do with my life, and it's actually what I do today. I remember sitting there, it had been about 1980, and the principal of our elementary school came in with these new computers, and a handful of us kids, and said, you know what, guys, I'm too old to figure this out. You guys do it. And from that minute, I wanted to know how to use that computer to make money.
Cool.
And it's been an evolution ever since. My brother and I were actually fortunate enough. We'd been dabbling in a bunch of entrepreneurial things. About 10 years ago, sort of everything came together, and we started a company called Networks Online. And slowly but surely have been building that and growing that up to the point that we do about $10 million in sales now as of today.
So Networks is like an online sales platform.
Yeah, the core platform of Networks Online is an online CRM. Now people would say it's a sales or contact management platform in the cloud. Back in the day, there was no cloud,
sure.
but that's basically what it is. It's a sales tool that allows independent sales guys, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, network marketers, anyone who's working from home independently to sell stuff. Our online tool helps them sell more of it.
And that kind of spawned several other business services, right? You have like Fax Burner, Phone Burner, Conference Burner, all these burner series. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're not real original in our naming, but basically the way it started is we had our users, again, mostly home-based sales guys, and the first thing they asked for is, hey, we'd like to be able to get faxes.
Yep.
And we don't want to go set up a fax machine, and that's retro in 1980s. So we developed a service called Fax Burner, which, it's sort of like eFax, but it allows you to get a free fax on your iPhone and turn it into a PDF, real simple faxing.
Cool.
Then sales guys wanted to be able to do conference calls, and they wanted a simple, easy platform for getting a few people on the phone at the same time with them. So then we created Conference Burner.
Okay.
After that, we had Phone Burner. Phone Burner is a tool, again, if you're sitting at a telemarketing center, you've got all this expensive equipment, but if you're sitting at home, you want the ability to put on your headset and manage through your contacts in a really simple and efficient way.
Okay.
And these are all great tools. Our customers have really enjoyed them. It makes it easier to be a sales guy at home. But the one we're most excited about is a brand new company, actually, we started a year ago called Meeting Burner. And with Meeting Burner, our real goal is to go after WebEx, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, the big players in that space, and again create a way for an independent sales guy to create and deliver a real easy, simple online meeting.
Let's go back to the day when you guys got started. So basically, you and your brother started this business. Tell us about how that dynamic works. So how did you guys figure out from the get-go how to get along and how to start this business?
Both my brother and I were interested in technology, interested in the internet, and we wanted to find a way to make technology and the internet work. And so we were dabbling in all sorts of different projects, and through fortune or luck, or because we'd failed a bunch of times in a row, we ended up finding a group of sales guys that were selling basically a vitamin in a bottle, and went to them and said, hey, if we build you a way to help sell that stuff better online, do you think you have any reps that want to use it?
Sure.
And they said, yeah, I think there'll probably be 50 people who would pay you $25 a month for that type of service. And we said, all right, well, let's put this together. We built it one weekend, hoping to get a little residual of maybe $1,000 a month income. But we put this together, and a couple months later had 2,000 people using our sales platform. And we quickly said, wait a second, we're onto something here. And from that moment forward, we really turned it from some entrepreneurial hobby type things going on into a real business moving forward.
A lot of people say that it's a nightmare to go into business with your family. How do you manage that dynamic? Do you guys ever fight?
There's been good days and bad days. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But the truth is, For most of the time, it's been really, really good to have my brother Paul as my business partner. I do have a stack of headsets that I had for a while that got broken because I threw them at the wall after a heated discussion. But everyone always says it's hard to be business partners when times are good, and it's hard to be business partners when times are bad.
Yeah.
Those are sort of the two extremes that pull people apart.
Yeah. What's some advice you'd give? Because a lot of the people watching, they have home businesses, or they're starting something from scratch, and it might be tempting to go into business with your best friend, or maybe it is your brother. What advice would you give them to watch out for, do's and don'ts?
First of all, I'm a big believer in being totally honest with someone and having all of the hard conversations ahead of time.
So you lay it all on the table.
Literally sitting down with your brother and saying, look, this is great today, but what are we going to do when it fails?
So what are some of those things maybe early on that you threw out there on the table? I mean, is it personality stuff? Is it skill stuff?
I think it's more about making clear about whose responsibilities are which.
Okay.
My brother and I get together on all key decisions, but the reality is when it's technology, he's doing it, and when it's, I'll just dare say, everything else, the business side, I'm doing it.
So he trusts you?
He trusts me more than I trust him. So he's probably a better partner even than I am.
Okay.
But it's been good, and we had the opportunity to bring on our brother-in-law. Great guy. We'd wanted to work with him for years, but he'd been successful on his own right, and we could never really afford him. And all of a sudden, an opportunity came up due to the way life works, and we're like, we got to have Kevin. We got to bring Kevin on board to this team. And I had to sit down with Kevin and say, look, I want to make this happen.
Yeah.
But if this business fails, we still got to give each other a hug on Christmas.
Yeah.
So really going through all of that junk, and then sort of because of my personality, literally writing that down in contract form makes people read it, understand it, and commit to it.
Yeah.
And I think it's helped us over the years. But the key thing is don't just let some attorney make a superficial agreement.
Right.
The important part about that agreement is to say, Kevin, what is going to happen if you decide you don't like working for me anymore and you quit?
Right.
What's that going to do to our relationship? What's that going to do to the business? How are we going to handle that situation? Because life happens.
Let's talk a little bit about your company structure, because I think this is very unique, and I think this is certainly a trend and probably where we're headed for the future. How do you manage productivity and keep tabs on your employees?
Okay, a couple different things. First of all, at a high level, we try to find the right people who have the discipline and enjoy working from home and having that flexibility.
How do you find them?
Trial and error,
okay.
Right? Hire slow and fire fast.
Okay.
We've been lucky to have a group of people that, for the most part, almost no one's ever left our company. But I have to admit that there's sometimes we bring people in that say, oh, I'd love to work from home. This is going to work great. I have the discipline. And it turns out they like Oprah and bonbons too much.
Sure.
And that just doesn't work into our style.
Yep.
In terms of the management, we have a real simple tool that we use called a DWC that every single person sends at the end of every day. And D means done, W means working on, and C means crap.
Okay.
Done working on crap. Just the bullet points of that day that you'd like to share. Not so we can judge whether you had a good day or not, but so that we can all sort of get a sense as to what was going on.
Make them accountable.
As if we were in the same office.
Sure. How do you do collaboration? I mean, maybe this new tool, Meeting Burner, is one of the real-life tools that you're using to be productive. Tell me about that.
We do use Meeting Burner as a collaboration tool, but we are big believers in having as few meetings as possible.
Okay.
We try to keep meetings lean. We have an executive team, and we give 45 minutes once a week is the total allotted time for those 7 people to get together and discuss things.
Wow.
And that makes us focus on what's most important to be shared within that team.
So you have about 6 minutes apiece.
We have about 6 minutes apiece.
I love that.
If there's a side project going on and 2 people need to go collaborate on it, they'll do it on the phone, they'll use Meeting Burner, they'll share their screen, they'll interact with each other. But the reality is that my sense of most of corporate America is people are spending too much time, wasting time in meetings where people aren't paying attention, they're not getting anything out of it. And so with Meeting Burner, one of the things that I bring in terms of a passion is not just to create yet another meeting platform, but to really help people and surround them with the tools that'll help them, I'm going to say, do less meetings.
Yeah.
But just use the meeting platform when you need to, and for goodness sake, don't get on an airplane unless you really have to.
Okay. Where can people find this? Is it meetingburner.com?
Meetingburner.com.
Okay, and it was really born out of necessity, right? I mean,
Yep.
You didn't just dream this. It really came about because people asked for it.
Yep. We were spending about $100,000 a year in our core business providing online meeting and webinar services to our customers.
Wow, okay.
And we're a small business. We've done well, but you get to the end of the year and you have to write another $100,000 check.
Sure.
And we took a step back, and my brother and I, every year for the last few years, would say, isn't there a way for us to do this ourselves? Make our clients happier, save ourselves some money, have a
Sure.
better integrated platform.
Yeah, money saved is money earned.
And it wasn't till last year, almost about a year ago now, the middle or September of 2010, that because of the cloud and Amazon's web services and a whole bunch of things came together, and we said, you know what? I think we can make a run at this, not only for our own clients, but also to have a tool to really shake up the industry and go after some of the big boys and make them start innovating again.
So how are you doing this? I mean, someone would call this a boring business or a mature industry where there's already these big players defined. How's it different, and how are you cutting through?
Yeah, I think we have a blog post called Why We Started a Boring Business and You Should Too. And it's a big market. It's a $4 billion market today is being spent on online meetings. And so our initial vision was we're going to make them faster, better, easier, and we're going to give it away for free. And that's where we started. And that's still a great sort of vision for what we're trying to do.
Okay.
And we've got some cool features in there, and they're dynamic, and maybe we can go into those a little bit. But my vision for today, sort of what we're using internally, is Meeting Burner either has to save you money or it has to make you money. If it's not doing one of those two things, then we're not doing our job right.
A lot of people watching are small business owners. They've got clients. Maybe they have an expertise or a product that they'd like to talk to their clients about. They're using email lists, maybe. They're using social media. How is this service then integrated into what they're doing?
First of all, anytime you don't have to get on an airplane to go physically meet someone, that saves a bunch of money.
Okay, that's
in
obvious.
terms of the tangible costs, the online meeting providers today charge between $49 and $499 a month.
Yeah.
Our service is free.
So how do you do that for free? What's the catch?
We're using a freemium model. And the freemium model means that 95% of the people that use the service are going to get it completely free.
Okay.
5% of the people that need some of our extra features, they're the ones that'll pay us a monthly fee that'll be equal or less than the competitors.
So these are the 5%. These are the mega users.
The mega users, and so some of the things they'll pay for are to have larger meetings, better analytics.
What's a larger meeting mean? Is this like
larger meeting to us will probably mean if you have more than 25 people on the meeting at the same time. And the reality is that that's not that many of the meetings that are going on in today's world.
Okay.
If you can put a big webinar together with 50, 100, 1,000 people, you've got $49 a month to pay for that webinar.
Yeah, it's reasonable. How are you going to make money? How can we make money from it?
Oh, our big thing is we want to have a platform that, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a small business owner who's doing a webinar, we want to make that entire experience so good that you'll make more money. So let me give you an example.
Okay.
If you're using one of the competitors' platforms today, to do a big webinar where at the end you're going to sell an information product, you have so many different components, from your people registering for that webinar to making sure the technology actually works on their platform, to following up with them, to moving the data around. There's all these moving parts that make it complicated. And what we've done with some of our optimization gurus is gotten in there and say we're going to have the perfect landing page, the easiest possible software to install, great buttons that encourage you to upgrade and buy afterwards, a simple way to record the webinar in case you want to send it out to people in the future, easy integration with PayPal. Just make every single one of those steps so good that, let's say we take 10 things, make them 10% better, we've doubled your results. And that's the type of mentality that we want to bring to an entrepreneur who wants to use this platform to go out and use it as a sales tool to make more money.
So let's back up just a little bit and talk about webinars as a tactic. what are they good for? How do we use them? And maybe talk us through some of the do's and don'ts, maybe best practices of webinars.
Great. I think webinars are about the most powerful way you can sell something in the entire world today, because they give you a couple different aspects. First of all, most people do not want to have to be dragged down to a conference or to a hotel room in order to have someone sell them something on Tuesday night. So by opening it up and allowing your participants to engage with you on their time at their home or their place of business, they're more apt to show up.
So can these be done on demand, or do they always have to be done live?
Our platform, Meeting Burner, is designed to do live events, but we also record. We allow the host to record the event, and we're working on technology that allows them to play that back even more easily.
Is it friendly with Facebook? Is it friendly with my website?
Yep. One thing we do that's different than the big guys is we have one-touch recording. When you want to record your webinar, you hit one button. You don't have to do any work. At the end of the meeting, we deliver to you an MP4 file if you want to use it, a link to put on Facebook, a link for your website. However you want to deal with it, it's your webinar, it's your content. We want to make it easy for you.
All right, so if I say something I don't want to say, I can go back and edit it if I've got that knowledge, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, back in terms of webinars in general, as a powerful platform, if you get an engaging speaker and a nice PowerPoint presentation or keynote presentation that they're good at, like many of your guests you've had on this show, they can leverage their personality, a little web camera or a picture of themselves, a screencast, and they're delivering really great information. And the best webinars are the ones that are truly designed to gift and give away free information, so that if someone attends, they leave thinking, wow, I learned a lot tonight, and maybe you've got an upsell opportunity at the end. Maybe you're going to give them something they want for more money afterwards. But when you're delivering a webinar, you want to educate people and have them leaving your event thinking that was a fantastic educational presentation, even if they don't make a purchase right then afterwards.
So content is driving a lot of this webinar, the explosion of webinars.
Yep, it's content, and it ranges from everything. There's big online webinars right now going on dating, on how to make money from home, big weight loss challenges. You name it, people are gathering together on webinars because that's how they'd like to learn from the best speakers in the world who they might not be able to afford or might not be able to get to see face to face.
Well, so Meeting Burner is great because it really levels the playing field now. And if you've got a small business out there, or if you even have expertise in a particular category, you could create your own webinar, and you've got an audience, or you could build this audience, and you could basically market your knowledge or your product, your service, and get it out there and do really well in your particular niche.
Absolutely, and the number of times you go to a webinar in today's world with a really renowned speaker and they've got great things to say, and then you hear their dog barking in the background, right? Because they're living their life. They're working from home and they're doing the same thing.
But I love that. That humanizes it. You know, it's real. Where do you think we're headed? Everyone's talking about the cloud now. It's no longer about software. It's about the cloud. Even in a very short amount of time, it may no longer be about social media. It's evolving into social business. Where are we headed?
I'm excited. I don't know exactly where we're headed, but I get excited by a couple different things. First of all, the fact that people now really do connect online. Some people say, or used to say, well, if you only emailed your dad, then what relationship would you have with your dad? Well, the reality, for example, my dad and I have a great relationship. We love each other, love to spend time together. But I would never pick up the phone and call him 10 years ago, or maybe we'd do that once a month. But in today's world, UCLA football is going on, and we're texting each other back and forth, and it actually connects people from a human perspective. And then from a business perspective as well, if I want to do business with someone, the whole world's available to me. And with something like LinkedIn, I can go find the perfect expert at some little niche in the world that we happen to need. I can go find just that guy and put him to work on a contract basis to help our team without needing, as you talked about before, a whole campus full of employees sitting there captive. So for a small guy, I can go out and get the resources I need and bring them in. So in terms of a global trend, things are getting cheaper. Online meetings are getting cheaper. Online software is getting cheaper. The cloud makes it all sort of easier and more obtainable for everyone. So it's going to be competitive, but people are just going to use that infrastructure and stuff to change the world and make it better.
All right, so what are some parting words of wisdom you'd give for people who are starting their own business, or like you're creating this new service in a very mature industry? What are your words of advice?
First thing I'd say is do something you love. If you're thinking about going out on your own, it's a lot of work. And it's there's going to be days when you're laughing, days when you're crying, days when you're frustrated. Have a passion deep down for what it is that you're doing. Otherwise, it's just not worth the time.
How do you know when to give up, right? When you're trying to make it happen, but it's just not happening. How do you know how long to give it?
One of the things we tried to use is called a phased approach to things.
Okay.
So rather than going and building a one-year project and hoping someone will buy it in the end, we break things down into little phases.
Okay.
Even with Meeting Burner. The very first release of Meeting Burner was so pathetic, but it didn't matter because we wanted to get it in people's hands and get their reaction to it and make sure that we were on a path.
Okay.
We could have gone away and spent 5 years in a lab building Meeting Burner, and the whole world would have changed by the time we were even done. So do things quickly and iterate and see, eventually you have to ask someone, will you pay for this?
Yeah.
And if you can't get anyone to say yes, fail quickly, right? Yeah. Move on to something else. But don't give up on your dream, right? It's hard. There's days when you're going to be discouraged, and I would never want to tell someone to give up on their dreams too quick.
Right.
In terms of going after the big guys like we are with Meeting Burner, I don't think entrepreneurs realize always when they're small what a great advantage it is to be small.
So you're nimble.
If we want to add a feature to Meeting Burner, we can make that decision in a minute, have a programmer build it in an hour, and have it pushed out to our customer base later that afternoon.
Because it's not software.
It's not software. No one has to download anything.
Okay.
It's on the cloud, and it's ready to go.
So this runs in a browser?
It runs in a browser.
Okay, yeah.
And so we've just, for example, with we were thinking we had opportunity to talk to some press a month ago, and so we wanted to have something truly innovative that no one else had. And from start to finish, in a couple weeks, we built something called the meeting temperature, which is something that no one else in the industry had done.
Yeah.
And so what the meeting temperature allows you to do is if you turn it on, if you're hosting a webinar, you can turn it on, and then your participants can drag a little slider bar back and forth to tell you whether they're excited, hot about the meeting, or not excited and cold.
Okay.
And the host then gets real-time feedback. If you're presenting to an audience, you could see whether they're all going to the bathroom and bored.
Yeah.
You can't do that on an online meeting.
Well, I'm excited about this because, Facebook has the like button, Google Plus has the +1. So this is maybe taking that to the next level.
This is the hot and cold slider bar, basically.
So at the end of a meeting or whatever you're doing, you can take the sentiment or the resonance or whatever you want to call it. Take the temperature, yeah. And it's all, and you can go back and record seeing where it's happened at that particular time.
So the host gets a real-time presentation or a little number showing whether this meeting's hot or not.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, you get a full YouTube-style video of your entire webinar showing every 30 seconds whether you were hot and cold. So you can go back in and look at what was going well and what wasn't going well.
This is a hot idea by itself. Have you thought about converting this into an app? Or, I could see, watching a political debate or American Idol, whenever, and you're turning a dial on your mobile.
Yep. At first, meeting temperature was just for online meetings. The first taste I got that maybe it was bigger than that is I have a friend who's a professor out on the East Coast, and he said, "Wait a second, I need this for my class." And I said, "Well, that sounds great, but your class, the people are actually there. So what are you going to have? What are you doing?" And he said, "I don't care. I so desperately want to know." In his case, not whether it was hot or cold, but whether they understood or were confused. Yeah. That he wanted to basically take a video of his own class and see how they were reacting. So we're toying with the idea and actually have a little beta app of an iPhone or mobile device that lets you rate anything in the entire planet. Yeah. And then as a group, we'll take that group data together. Yeah. And rate a movie, rate a TV show, rate how the football game's going, and it's an interesting concept.
Thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thanks for your words of wisdom. We wish you much success in the coming months with your new services, and really excited about that thermometer. Tell us what it is again.
Something burner, right?
Okay.
We don't know the name yet.
All right. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. Thank you.
This Behind the Brand episode is brought to you by Raven Internet Marketing Tools. Powerful data and tools for online marketers. Get a free trial at raventools.com/behind.